After my billionaire dad found me, I chose to drop out of the cybersecurity competition. Cathay, a beautiful girl from the foreign language department, slapped me across the face. "You poor student. Who do you think you are, dropping out? If you dare quit, I'll make sure you get expelled." In my past life, Cathay submitted code at the cybersecurity competition that was exactly like mine. I asked my 2 friends to vouch for me, but they went silent and in the end, told the judges to consider my poverty and give me another chance. Because of this, I was branded a plagiarist and blacklisted from the industry before even graduating. Constant online insults and a life in poverty pushed me into despair. One day, unable to bear the pressure, I ended my life by slitting my wrists in a tiny basement less than 300 square feet. Next thing I knew, I woke up back in university a week before submitting the cybersecurity program. "Ruby, you dozed off. If you're that tired, just go rest." Henry gently tapped my shoulder, startling me awake like I'd snapped out of a nightmare. Ben leaned in, joking, "Ruby, go catch some sleep before you stunt your growth." I heard the same words twice before. In my previous life, I felt lucky. I was an orphan raised in foster care, but my 2 playmates always had my back. This time, it all felt like a cruel joke. In that past contest, Cathay and I turned in identical code. Most judges were senior tech experts from major companies. Winning wasn't just about honor. It was a stepping stone to a great job. After being accused of plagiarism, I hoped Ben and Henry would testify for me, 2 friends who had been at my side. But both went silent. Ben even begged the judges to give me another chance, given I was poor. I was dumbfounded. Online critics lashed out. "Being broke is no excuse for plagiarism. Lots of poor folks would be ashamed of you. If someone cheats at a competition, what's to stop them from claiming others work at a company?" The major company's judges blacklisted me. Cathay, as expected, clinched the top spot, crowned as the most beautiful programmer. And my cheating scandal was recorded in the student integrity files of the university, leading to my expulsion and reputation as a notorious plagiarist. Afterwards, I had to apply for jobs on a high school diploma. I couldn't last in any job. Everyone teamed up against me whenever they discovered I'd plagiarized for a job, and I was promptly fired. Eventually, I was exhausted, bankrupt, and hopeless. After job dismissal number 208, I resigned to despair, alone in a basement, ending my life. Once more, I woke up at school, staring at the childhood friends who'd grown up with me, lost in thought. "Why aren't you writing code? Henry and I are staying up just to help you finish for the competition." Ben's voice was carrying with a touch of scolding. Henry yawned, adding, "We're pulling all-nighters for you. Ruby, you better snag first place or you'll owe us big time." I forced myself to stay calm. Ben, Henry, and I were all orphans growing up together like siblings. There must be an explanation for the past events. I'd been into programming since high school, earning numerous awards. While my closest friends testified for Cathay, some judges knew me well and thought it was unfair to trust only one side. They asked Cathay for her problem-solving steps as evidence. By then, Cathay had amassed tons of fans. During the competition, the live stream chat buried me in an avalanche of comments. We watched Cathay solve everything. Ruby's questions and solutions are identical to Cathay's. If not her, then who stole from whom? Ruby's friends are silent. Why do judges want evidence from Cathay? Just because she's won before? Exactly. Past wins don't count for now. The judges are biased. Confidently, Cathay posted each problem solution on a programmer forum, claiming to discuss with international competitors. Reading through a few pages, the judges found ironclad proof, declaring me the plagiarist and Cathay the champion. So my first step back, find that forum. It's already 1 a.m. I'm exhausted. I'll head back to the dorm to sleep. Henry seemed impatient. Hey, you can't just screw around. If the contest is here and you're not ready, what's the point of my sleepless nights? Ben shot him a look and said, "Ignore him, Ruby. Health comes first." He helped gather my stuff, and they both walked me back to the dorm. In the dorm, my roommates were asleep. I quietly washed up and sneaked into bed, secretly searching for Cathay's post. I found it within a couple of pages. Her post was super popular with tons of fans. I stared at her profile picture, lost in thought. In my past life, I'd heard whispers that Cathay was the foreign language department beauty, gorgeous, from a wealthy family, and perhaps related to a board member. but we'd never interacted. I only knew about her from Henry and Ben, who said they wanted to pursue her and would compete fairly. They joked I was a tomboy, not as soft and cute as Cathay. I thought they were kidding. Thinking back, maybe they weren't. And with no history of conflict, I couldn't grasp why she'd target me, plagiarize, and ruin my reputation. I clicked into her profile, checking her new post. She shared a solution I just figured out that afternoon. Her approach matched mine, even down to the position of the code cursor. Her fans were all praising her. Cathay's not just beautiful, she's brilliant, solving even tough cybersecurity problems. I felt a chill run through me. If she did plagiarize, Ben and Henry must have helped her. But after years together, I couldn't believe they'd betray me over a girl they barely met. That night, inspiration struck. The competition splits into 3 modes: problem-solving, attack-defense, and hybrid. I previously picked the problem-solving style I felt most confident in. But since Cathay's approach turned out to be the same as mine, I figured I might as well switch to a new strategy. It's tough, but at least it will keep things clear in the future. The next morning, bright and early, I decided not to wait for Ben and Henry. Instead, I went straight to school to change my competition direction with the professor. The professor adjusted his glasses and smiled at me. "What's up, campus whiz? Do you find this direction not challenging enough?" Feeling a bit embarrassed, I looked down. Not exactly. I want to do something more difficult. Big tech companies appreciate that more. You know I'm an orphan, and even my tuition is covered with government loans. I was being honest here. The competition organizer is one of the country's most famous software companies. I initially picked the safer problem-solving style to guarantee first place. But now, I'm aiming for the attack and defense direction. It's harder, but if I can snag a medal, I could join the company's research institute right after graduation. The starting salary is over $1 million. The professor nodded, showing he understood. Coming out of his office, I felt much lighter. On the way, Henry called me. "Ruby, where are you at? Why didn't you wait for me and Ben to go to the cafeteria this morning?" "I'm on my way." I decided not to tell them about my switch in competition strategy for now. After all, they're not computer science majors. They have no clue about what I'm hammering away at on my computer every day. I was really curious to see what Cathay would post next. With the change in direction, I started staying up even later than usual. In the evenings, the huge lab was down to just the 3 of us. Henry was already snoring away. Ben got up. "Ruby, you hungry? I'm gonna grab some snacks. Want anything?" It's hard for me to believe that Ben, who's so sweet and considerate, would betray me. "Anything's fine, thanks." I glanced at Henry, all stretched out in his small chair. With his easygoing personality, it didn't seem likely that he would betray me either. But something was definitely off. While Ben stepped out and Henry was asleep, I sneakily opened Cathay's page. The top post was a photo of my program's desktop from yesterday. Captioned, "How's the genius resorting to copying now? The competition's almost over and now I've got to switch directions." Annoying. The background in the photo was clearly from the lab, and anyone familiar with it could easily pinpoint who it was. What's even scarier is that she mentioned switching to the exact direction I just changed to this morning: attack and defense. My back was drenched and my breathing got heavier. The timestamp on that photo was from when most people had left the lab, and it was just Ben and Henry with me after school. So either Ben or Henry or both had betrayed me. But why would they do that? Was it just because Cathay's pretty? Ben and Henry aren't the type to be swayed by looks. Could it be money? Although Cathay's family is well off, it's not like they'd hire someone to copy others' work. Dealing with people is way more complicated than dealing with computer programs. "Ruby, what's wrong?" Henry woke up suddenly, startling me enough to quickly close the web page. I turned and saw Ben, too unaware of when he'd come back or whether they'd seen me on Cathay's page. Ben, just like always, kindly set the takeout in front of me. Eat first, nothing's more important than eating. But after the shock I just had, eating was the last thing on my mind. Poking at my rice, I said, "Starting tomorrow, I'll handle my code work solo. I'm sorry for bothering you guys so late every night." Henry slammed his chopsticks down, frowning. "What do you mean, Ruby? Since when do we keep secrets from each other?" Ben, though, held him back. "Ruby has her reasons. But you coming back to the dorm so late every night, I can't help but worry." I nodded. "I worked it out with my roommate. She's got exams coming up and needs to study, so she'll join me in the lab. And no matter what, it's still school. It's relatively safe. Henry snorted. Fine, whatever. Think anyone's dying to hang out with you. I'll go hit on some girls instead. On my way back to the dorm that night, I caught a glimpse of Cathay getting into a Bugatti. The headlights flashed by and I saw a young guy in the car. After she got in, they seemed pretty cozy. Back in the dorm, I immediately called Henry to tell him about seeing Cathay in the fancy car. Uninterested, Henry snapped. Maybe it's her brother. Get back to your competition work and stop nitpicking. I felt so frustrated. After lights out, I lay in bed, secretly checking Cathay's page on my phone. Her latest post had 2 new comments. Henry, that copycat genius, more like, I've been undercover for Cathay for 2 days, and she can't write a thing. Ben, you got this, Cathay. No need to hang at the lab with her anymore. I'll bring you a love-filled breakfast in the morning. My heart sank. So they both did betray me, and they got what they deserved with Cathay. But with them openly against me now, Cathay must have planted someone new close to me. Might as well. From now on, I'll head to the lab alone. I'll code by myself and see how they can copy me then. Early the next morning, my roommate Bella asked to join me at the lab. I kindly turned her down. Didn't expect Bella to snap. Humph. What do you think you are, some computer genius? More like a copycat. Hey, we've got a plagiarist hero living in our dorm. I leave early and come back late every day, barely interacting with my roommates. So when Bella said that, everyone started accusing me. I had heard about it before, just never dared to bring it up in the dorm. I knew it too. Her story's been all over the school forum. I didn't expect Cathay to make it so widely known. But I'm not backing down. She just wants to force me out of the competition, but I'm not quitting and I'm going to win. I went to see our professor again. He's a kind old man, aware I've been falsely accused of plagiarism. In my past life, he stood by me against both the school's and the internet's pressure. But people online accused him of supporting college students, and I got labeled an academic fraud. I shared all my worries in the situation with him, hoping he could help me figure something out. After thinking it through, he told me he'd recommended me to his wife's school, and I could finish the competition there. I bowed deeply to my professor. In a new school and a fresh environment, I could finally work without worrying about being plagiarized, fully focused on my work. As the competition's deadline approached, I was getting more and more done. At night, I'd still check Cathay's posts. Seeing she hadn't posted in days, I finally relaxed. On the competition's last day, I completed all my codes. I stretched, then checked Cathay's post. She'd updated. Her update said all her competition codes were complete. The attached picture showed the last line of code I had just finished. I was devastated, smashing my computer to pieces. No matter how hard I try, I can't escape being plagiarized. The professor's wife heard the noise and rushed over asking what happened. I burst into tears in her arms. I'm sorry to you and the professor. I think I have to quit the competition. She comforted me, saying it's okay. Life is more than one competition. Also, thanks to you and the professor for your help. After giving up the competition, I couldn't return to the school, still carrying the plagiarist label there. The professor's wife wanted to take me out to relax, but I declined, saying I wanted a few days alone to calm down. She reluctantly agreed. Maybe my rebirth changed the original course of things. Just as I was considering a change in direction, people from Live Group contacted me. They told me I'm the daughter of Gary, the richest man in the city. My dad hopes I'll study business management abroad and then take over the family business. But those jerks made my past life hell, and I won't let them get away with it this time. Now, I'm lying on my huge bed watching the live broadcast of the cybersecurity competition. This year's cybersecurity competition, like every year, is held within a company's premises. Cathay dazzling on stage, just like Ben and Henry described, quite the beauty. She strutted her stuff, showing off her code, but she didn't notice the audience's faces growing uneasy, expressions tightening. Eventually, the guests started leaving in an orderly fashion. Cathay felt surprised but continued discussing her design ideas. From the front row of guests, I even spotted the guy from last time with the Bugatti. Only a big shot from a major company can sit there, but the camera quickly panned away. Then I saw Ben and Henry. The live chat was abuzz. Our Cathay is incredible, champion. Champion. Think so too. Look at their faces in the audience. They're discovering Cathay is a rare gem. Suddenly, the big screen went black, shocking Cathay. As she stood frozen, the remaining audience seemed to receive some cue, crouching down and hiding. Several SWAT officers came in, guns aimed at Cathay. Put your hands up. What's going on? Being too good is a crime now? Cathay raised her hands as instructed. Two officers quickly pinned her to the floor. Now in distress, she looked beautiful. Ben and Henry rushed to be heroes. The cops swiftly kicked them down, perfectly in line, looking quite pitiful.
Cathay shouted, "I'm innocent."
You've got the wrong person. Even with cops holding him down, Henry kept running his mouth. Let Cathay go, arrest me instead. You've been reported for having 58 viruses in your code. Half are trying to breach the internal network, half are grabbing confidential data. We reasonably suspect you're a corporate spy. Cathay was speechless still. Henry refused to back down. What virus? This is a defense system. One judge was furious. Young lady, are you a citizen here? If not, why meddle in such schemes? Cathay was scared. Silly, what scheme? I don't know anything. The judge got even more angry. You don't know? You're just pretending you don't. If you really don't, why join a cybersecurity competition? With so many viruses in one program, looks like a suicide attack to me. Cathay desperately shook her head. I didn't write this. Someone's framing me. Framing you? No regular person can write such a program. You're a spy with a specialized team. The judge was bristling with anger. Then Ben blurted out, it was Ruby. She's the one. Miss Sir's home and waiting for you to join for lunch. Sure thing. After lunch, Dad called me to his study. Ruby, when Papa's business failed years ago, I had a lot of debt and people were after me. Sending you to an orphanage was the last resort. I've longed for us to reunite quickly, and I'll make it up to you from now on. As for your brother Larry, he's your uncle's son, your cousin. I plan to hand over Live Group to you and he'll assist you. I nodded. When the butler fetched me home, he briefed me about the family's situation. He mentioned I have a brother named Larry. I used to see Ben and Henry as my brother and brother figure, and now I actually have a brother. I'm eager to meet him. In the afternoon, the butler informed me Larry had returned but seemed unhappy. Still, I was curious to see what he looked like. When I came downstairs, Larry extended his hand to me in a friendly manner. Hey sis, I'm your brother. If you ever need anything, just call me. I was stunned. This was the guy who showed up in a Bugatti to pick Cathay up that night. Suddenly, everything made sense. I always thought it was weird how Cathay wanted to take me down even though I had no beef with her. Turns out someone didn't want me back at home. Larry noticed I was zoned out and chuckled. What's up? Is there something on my face? Snapping back to reality, I extended my hand. Nice to meet you, brother. Let's take care of each other. Larry continued, I heard our Ruby is a computer genius. You've competed in tons of contests and won many awards. How come you didn't join the recent cybersecurity competition? How does my brother, who I've never met before, know so much about me? Alright, enough chatter. Your sister just got back to Live Group. It's just a contest. If she wants to drop out, she can. I don't believe any of this plagiarism nonsense people are saying. Dad cut in, putting an end to the conversation. The next morning, the police came to see me. They wanted me to cooperate in some investigation. Larry was still at home and asked with a smile, Ruby, did you get into some kind of trouble? Need any help? I flat out refused. At the police station, I saw Cathay, Henry, and Ben. They'd been there all night and looked worn out. Henry, as always, was the most impatient. Ruby, tell the police Cathay copied your code. How could a language major know that stuff? I quickly waved my hand. Stop dragging me into this. What code? I can't write any code worth stealing. Ben stared directly at me. Ruby, we wrongly accused you before. We didn't know Cathay would do something like this. We understand if you're mad and want her to learn a lesson, but she knows she messed up. If you don't admit to anything, she'll go to jail, and her life will be ruined. I sneered. I used to think Ben was kind and gentle, but turns out he's shameless. I already withdrew from the cybersecurity competition. I have no clue what code Cathay used. Cathay walked up to me and slapped me right in the face. You're just a broke student. Admit it now, or wait until my boyfriend comes. He won't let you go. Henry and Ben were in shock. What did you say? You have a boyfriend? Officers, you all saw that, right? She hit me. A female officer held Cathay back. Behave. You're in a police station. As per protocol, they took me to a separate room for questioning. The officer questioning me was an older guy. On the table there was a broken laptop sealed in a bag, the one I smashed. Miss Ruby, is this your laptop? Yes. Hearing my straightforward answer, the old cop shifted a bit. We found surveillance software installed on it, monitoring you. Cathay was behind it, did you know? I replied no, but I had a feeling something was off. I just knew whenever I competed, my code got stolen. At first I suspected Henry and Ben, so I kicked them out. But when it kept happening, I had no choice but to withdraw. Finally, when I'd had enough, I smashed the laptop. The old cop continued, so, you wrote 58 viruses to frame Cathay? I adjusted my posture. As someone who's into cybersecurity, I need to study different viruses to learn how to defend against them. Can't I do that as practice? The old cop smiled and nodded. I went on, by the way, I'm not super clear why Cathay went to such lengths to plagiarize. Also, I can't let her get away with slapping me. Miss Ruby, don't worry, that's our job. When I initially came back to life, I had my suspicions there were bugs or something watching me. Ben and Henry studied architecture and sports, they knew squat about code. I was writing thousands of lines a day. No way could anyone memorize and plagiarize that on brainpower alone. They were up in my business, so I couldn't examine my laptop thoroughly. My last life ended so horribly. I'm the definition of cautious this time around. I've been living a simple, predictable life between the lab and my dorm, with Ben and Henry at the lab and my roommates at the dorm. I couldn't tell friends from foes. All I could do was play pretend. I trusted my college professor and his wife, yet even at their place I didn't remove the surveillance. My wealthy dad had already found me, so I didn't need to win the competition for survival. Why not just go all out and get back at them? Sorry, Professor, I didn't meet your expectations. At home that evening, Larry was still wearing that fake smile of his. Oh hey, our esteemed cybersecurity expert is home. Dad. Look at Larry, why's he being so sarcastic? Is he not happy I'm back? Dad laughed, our Ruby smart like me. By the way, bro, was that girl who's been accusing me of plagiarism your girlfriend? I teased. Quit your nonsense. Larry's face turned sour, glaring at me as a warning. Enough. Ruby is your sister and she's gonna run Live Group one day. Show some respect. Dad snapped at Larry. Larry huffed, grabbed his jacket and left. Get back here. Dad was about to explode, so Larry didn't dare defy him. Growing up with no manners. At dinner, Dad said, since you seem to love cybersecurity competitions, we'll just host one ourselves. I thought for a bit and replied, no need, I plan to focus on business studies. I glanced at Larry. Knowing he killed me in my last life, I was determined to become the heir this time and drive him mad. But Dad had his own way to mess with Larry. Ruby, don't let this pressure you. Even if you take over Live Group, you can still enjoy cybersecurity as a hobby. On the competition day, tons of big shot company execs will be there. After you win, I'll proudly announce to everyone that you're my daughter, Gary's daughter. Your brother will handle organizing the competition. Larry was on the verge of bursting with rage. In the last cybersecurity competition, Cathay ended up taking all the blame. Ben and Henry finally realized that Cathay wasn't as innocent as she seemed and came back to me. Henry said, Ruby, we grew up together. Now that you're rich, you can't just abandon us over a tiny mistake. Ben chimed in, Ruby, think about it. Gary knows it was Larry who set you up. If he truly cares about you, why not put Larry in jail and instead let Cathay take the fall? I rolled my eyes. You don't get how things work in rich families. You're just jealous because I have money now. Besides, didn't you like Cathay? Go keep her company then. I turned and walked away, not bothering to argue with them anymore. On the day of the Live Group cybersecurity contest, I was backstage in a dress meticulously chosen by my family. I overheard people whispering about plagiarism. Did you hear? 2 contestants have the same project. Yeah, I heard. It's Live Group's newly found daughter who copied another contestant's work. That poor contestant. This contest was obviously rigged for the daughter. Fairness doesn't even come into play. I was stunned, feeling like it was all a bad dream, going around in circles back to where I started. Larry came backstage. He probably heard those whispering too. Ruby, just accept it. You're not getting into Live Group. Oh, Larry, just you wait. When it was my turn to present, the audience below was already buzzing with whispers. Is she the Live Group plagiarist? Wow, live groups really outdone themselves, acknowledging a disgraceful plagiarist. Heard she even got a girl locked up in some past contest. Live groups doomed. I noticed Larry in the audience looking smug. I began my code demonstration. When I hit the enter key, the code ran swiftly, revealing a table on the big screen filled with evidence of live groups' tax evasion over the years. The whispering crowd below erupted into a clamor. What the heck? How'd she pull off their financial records? Weren't we talking about plagiarism? What's this? This girl's fierce. The faces of the live group father and son turned green with rage. Larry rushed to unplug the power, and Gary ordered security to throw me out. Ridiculous. I bowed to the audience. Please everyone help me get justice. My dad Gary founded Live Group, which was seized by his twin brother Max. Max was greedy and ruthless. I've already turned over all the evidence to the police. Please pay attention to this case. 2 security guards tried to drag me off stage, but I skillfully dodged them. The crowd below was in an uproar. I knew Gary had a brother named Max, but I've never seen him. Was the whole plagiarism thing Gary's doing? I'm confused, my brain can't keep up. Larry finally caught his breath and ran up on stage. Ruby, what are you doing? Just then, the police arrived and took Larry and his father away. After Live Group found me, I always had a question at the back of my mind. If my dad was the wealthiest, why didn't Live Group step in to help me when I was wrongly accused of plagiarism in my past life? I overheard online that Gary had a brother who went missing a year ago. After returning to Live Group, I secretly collected hair samples from the father-son duo. The tests revealed that Gary was my uncle, not my dad, and that Larry was actually Gary's son. I handed everything over to the police. By matching samples in their database, the cops discovered that the current Gary was actually Max, the one who had vanished a year ago. My dad had been looking for me for a long time, and a year before he finally got a lead. He was thrilled and had drinks with Max and his son. During the celebration, he said he'd leave Live Group to me. Max's family was furious. Larry, uncle, we've worked for you all these years and now she just shows up and gets the company? Why? Because she's my daughter. My dad snapped. I've been supporting you freeloaders for years, and now you're trying to compete with my daughter over the inheritance? You don't deserve it. Filled with rage, Max smashed a bottle over my dad's head, killing him. He buried my dad in the backyard of the Live Group mansion. Everyone knew Live Group was searching for a daughter. Their sudden silence was suspicious, so they staged the plagiarism scandal. If I had a public scandal, Live Group would have a valid reason not to acknowledge me. Luckily, life gave me a second chance. I not only cleared my name but also avenged my father's death. A year later, I took over Live Group and rooted out Max's cronies. I hope to follow my father's legacy and take Live Group to even greater heights.